Hey guys, welcome back to You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be doing a mock draft reaction to Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 3.0. I was seeing some stuff on social media about it. Seems a little bit crazy just from what I saw. Have not seen the full mock, just the first couple picks. So let's read what he has to say here. He says, normally I don't introduce trades into my mocks until the final version is released on the eve of round 1, but it feels like the Minnesota Vikings' recent acquisition of a second first-round pick could be setting the table for a wild opening night of the draft on April 25th. So I'm forecasting not one, but two swaps in the top 5 of my mock draft 3.0. After all, there are no official mock draft rules. All right, let's get right into it. If you don't know ball, want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. And if there's any other mock draft reactions that you want to see, send them or let me know in the comments. Just put the name of the guy and then the number of the mock, and I'll do that. I'm going to try to keep those coming. I know I've been really focusing on the mock draft madness. Today is day 18. Video will be out later today. So, yeah, excited. So, at number 1, we have the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. He says the Bears have cleared the runway by trading Justin Fields. I'll be stunned if Williams isn't their choice at 1. They've built an outstanding supporting cast for him. Yeah, I never really spend much time on this pick, guys, because this one is the one that is probably going to be least discussed. It's just the easy option. Like, you have been a franchise that has been down in the dumps so long because of quarterback play, and you have a good roster now. And a pretty good GM, and you have this guy fall into your lap. It's almost like, how do you not take him? So there's really not much to discuss here. At number 2, we have the Washington Commanders taking Drake May. So the Commanders did move on some Sam Howell, and I'm sticking with Drake May. As we get closer to the draft, and I was saying this in my past couple videos, I just feel like the hype on Jaden Daniels is kind of wearing down a little bit. And Drake May, being a younger prospect with a little bit more tools, in my opinion, is going to be a lot more appealing than like a fifth-year guy who didn't really bust out until his last year with weapons and a good O-line. So I just see the Commanders probably taking May in this situation, and I do not see them as a trade-out candidate similar to the Bears. I don't think they're moving from 2. So we have number 3. We have Jaden Daniels. Okay, so I could see the Patriots potentially swapping with the Minnesota Vikings if they get a ridiculous haul. I don't know if they'll do it if the Vikings don't literally get bent over a barrel and are like, take whatever you want. Because in this situation, I don't know if the Patriots are going to be taking J.J. McCarthy. I haven't heard much stuff about that, and the reality is, if the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade up all the way to 3 to secure J.J. McCarthy when the Patriots don't even like him, it might be better for the Vikings to trade to possibly 4 or 5. I don't know if the Giants will trade. I don't know what they'll do. But then we have the Patriots at 3, Jaden Daniels. I don't love the pick because my thing is there's not much around him. Unless they make a deal happen where they get that number 1 wide receiver, the line is not that great either. They have Michael Winuhu, but Trent Brown just left, and they signed a tackle in free agency. But it's just, you'd be throwing Jaden Daniels into a very, very tough situation and forcing him to succeed with the coaching staff that really hasn't done much. So, at number 4, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who have traded up with the Arizona Cardinals. So now the fun really begins after the recent trade with the Texans, which I think the Texans got a little bit fleeced. It seems the Vikings are situated to aggressively move up in the draft for Kirk Cousins' replacement. The Cardinals trade down. All right, so there's no pick compensation. My guess is for this pick, you're trading 11, you're swapping 11, you're giving them 23, and you're giving them a first-round pick next year. It could also be, they could also throw in maybe a third next year as well, because that's what these trades cost. If you think that compensation is crazy, go look at the Trey Lance trade, which you're kind of trading from similar positions. And they actually, I believe, got more in the Lance trade. Now, yes, you can make the argument that, well, 2 firsts this year is more valuable. okay, it doesn't matter. It's still, you know, the president is set of what it's going to cost. At number 5, let me talk about the pick. JJ McCarthy, I think if he's going to go to any team and succeed, the Vikings are the best situation for him. They have Justin Jefferson, they have Jordan Addison, they have TJ Hawkinson, they have Aaron Jones, they have one of the best offensive coaches in the league, and you can sit him behind Sam Darnold for a year. Yes, you are going to have a annoying year with Sam Darnold. Whatever. You could have your franchise guy here in JJ McCarthy for the next 10 years if he ends up panning out. You throw him to the fire too soon, you may screw it up, and you just, you threw away all your first round picks, and now you can't recover. So at number 5, this is fucking insane. We have the Jets moving up to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I honestly kind of love it. I don't know, like, pairing Garrett Wilson with Marvin Harrison Jr. after they just rebuilt that line would be kind of disgusting. I don't know, because here's my thing. Okay, once Rodgers leaves, what's your succession plan? So, yes, I think this is a move that helps them win a Super Bowl, and maybe that's their goal. Maybe that's kind of like what they're aiming for, like kind of like what the Rams did. They're like, we don't give a fuck about the future, which the Rams are already good again, and they just want weapons, and this is a weapon that is going to be cheap and good. So I guess my thing is, I wonder what the compensation would be here, but I do like this trade a lot. It's something I've never seen, but the more I like think about like the reality is like it's possible. Like the Jets could do it, and it makes sense to do it. So I kind of like this trade. At number 6, we have the New York Giants taking Malik Neighbors. Now, Malik Neighbors, I think, is going to be a stud for the Giants. Obviously, there's a little bit of off-the-field issues that, it was just one thing, I believe, but it was a while ago, and I think it's a concern for teams, but I don't think it's going to move him out of the top 10. So, I think adding a weapon to the Jets would be, or Giants and Jets, both getting weapons here, would be stud additions, because it's like both of these teams kind of need playmakers. The Jets wide receiver room looked a lot better last year, and after the way it went, obviously Rodgers went down, he wasn't able to utilize them. It's kind of like you kind of need another stud. So Malik Neighbors can kind of be that guy for the Giants, who haven't really had a playmaker at receiver in quite a while. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Joe Alt. Honestly, if Alt is there at 7, it's going to be really, really hard to pass up. And the thing with that is, like, you are going to have, like, a solidified offensive line for quite a while. Cushenberry, Skronsky, Alt, like, not to say Cushenberry is, like, incredible, but he's a good starter who can play for you, and you're giving Will Levis options. I mean, you have Calvin Ridley, you have D-Hop, you have Treylon Burks, who can be in that wide receiver 3 role, because he hasn't really panned out how you wanted. Probably should have just paid A.J. Brown. But besides that, I mean, Dillard's gone, so you need to fill in that left tackle spot. And once they signed Ridley, it was kind of just like, they're going to take a tackle. So at number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking Dallas Turner. Makes a lot of sense. I've been hearing a lot, like the Falcons pushed really hard for Danielle Hunter. I hear that they are in on a trade. Well, there's a lot of teams like pushing for the trade, but Hassan Reddick from the Eagles, because they did re-sign Josh Sweat. The Eagles want to get Reddick re-signed, but at the same time, sorry, I just got a notification about Chase Young. He's having a procedure on his neck that will sideline him going into training camp because the Saints just signed him. Anyway, the Falcons have been in the market for edge, and they don't really need a wide receiver with all they did. I don't think it takes them out of the running for a wide receiver, but if it falls where like, Dunze is the available wide receiver, I don't know if you'd want to do that. I think it would be a lot more appealing if Neighbors was there. So adding the top edge off the board is not a bad idea. At number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking Rome Odunze. So here's the thing, guys. I think even if adding Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. If a wide receiver is there at pick 9, the top 3, they are going to take one. And honestly, before the Bears made the trade for Keenan Allen before the Vikings traded for the second first-round pick from the Texans. If 4 quarterbacks go in the top 5, right, that leaves 3 receivers from 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so there's only 4 spots for 3 receivers to go. If the Titans go O-line, which I believe they will, the Bears are basically promised to get one of these wide receivers. And if Rome is there, you cannot pass that up. I think that would be a great addition for the receiver room and Caleb Williams. At number 11, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Talisa Fuaga. So, trade back, get the right tackle that you probably wanted anyway, pair him with Rashawn Slater. Yes, Justin Herbert may not have the weapons, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, but he does have a line that will be able to block for him for the foreseeable future, and this would be a good addition. Whatever picks you pick up from that trade, which I would imagine 5 to 10 would probably net you like 2 seconds or even a first maybe, you can go rebuild that receiver room and you can get a receiver in the second round here. So good trade and good pickup by the Chargers. I like this pick a lot. I think that will probably be the pick, honestly, if the Cardinals don't trade out. So now we have the Arizona Cardinals. Long day, guys. We got Jared Verse. Okay, so they traded back with the Vikings. I really like Verse, and my thing is, the edge rankings in this draft are so weird because it's like you have Dallas Turner, who's like the most athletic in my opinion. Verse I love because of his speed and power, but then you have Latu, who's probably the most refined and polished guy in the draft. It's just the medical history is scary. So it's kind of pick your poison, but pick your poison, that's bad. But you know what I'm saying. The Arizona Cardinals come out with a stud in Jared Verse. So now, and my thing is, I would assume they also have a pick at 23 because the trade compensation wasn't in there. So now we have the Denver Broncos on the clock, and they are going to take Brock Bowers, which is interesting. I think there's probably more positions of need, so let's see what he says. I know tight end is not pressing need for the Broncos, but this is the best player available situation. Okay, that makes sense. They can deploy Bowers in the slot, similar to the way they utilize Michael Thomas in New Orleans. So that is what I have been reading a lot, and we know Bowers can be used in the slot, but I was reading some things about the Bears possibly have interest in Bowers, and because of his ability to be used in the slot. So if they want to go best player available and just kind of build their team around that, I mean, they're not going to be winning this year. So this is a long-term play that could really benefit them. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Michael Penix Jr. Very, very interesting that they're taking him this high. I think he could probably make it to the second round. So the Raiders signed Gardner Minshew to compete against Aiden O'Connell. However, I don't think those 2 quarterbacks have the ceiling that Penix does in the NFL. I like Penix a lot. His age and injuries scare me. There's an assumption that Penix is more of a second rounder, but I believe his skill set is a unique fit for the Raiders style of play. I mean, he would be walking into a good situation. Their O-line isn't horrible. They need to get a right tackle, but then they also have Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, and they drafted Michael Mayer last year, so he's going to have weapons going there. Like, I would love Penix to the Raiders. I would like Penix to the Dolphins if they're not going to re-sign too. I think that would be incredible. But overall, not a bad pick for the Raiders. I think they could probably trade up into the back end of the first round and get him, though. Because you got to think about who is your competition. Who's going to get Michael Penix? At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints taking Olu Fashanu. So I like this pick a lot because Olu is probably the best pass protector in the class. I know his run blocking isn't amazing, but it's not horrible. And, Trevor Penning is not working. Ramczyk is getting older and injury prone. You need a guy who could be kind of your anchor on the O-line, and that's exactly what Olu is. At number 15, you have the Indianapolis Colts taking Quinyon Mitchell. Love it. They need a corner. I heard things about a possible Snead trade, but I think that has kind of broken down. The talks have broken down. I think the money was kind of an issue. And Quinyon Mitchell, in my opinion, between him and Terrion Arnold, they're both like CB1A and CB1B. It kind of depends on what you want. I still think either of them are worthy of going, 15. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Troy Fautanu. Makes a lot of sense. He can play tackle, but he can play really anywhere on the interior, and that's where the Seahawks had the most issues last year. So if you have a guy who can play either tackle position, if you have a guy who can play all interior spots, and you need one of those, maybe, you need interior offensive linemen, Fautanu is probably the most versatile guy you can get. Yeah, you can get like a Jackson Powers Johnson, but he's not going to play any bit of tackle for you. And the Seahawks have been injury prone on that O-line, so I think Fautanu, he's been moving up draft boards, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was taken here. I wouldn't even be surprised if he went as high as 10 to the Jets. Because think about it. They have their guys, but it's like for how long? Like, he could play any position, and we know the Jets are always injured, so be a good pickup for them. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Terrion Arnold. I think he would be a stud next to Tyson Campbell, and their secondary would be vastly improved. Terrion Arnold is going to not slowly develop, but it's just like slowly get better and better and better, because that's all he did in college. He's super young. He was a sophomore at Alabama and just continually got better. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking J.C. Latham. Now, this mock draft came out before they just signed Trent Brown, but I believe the Trent Brown deal, it looks like they just updated it. So Trent Brown is signing a 1-year deal. Like, you need a succession plan there. We can't be looking for a new right tackle all the time. So J.C. Latham, would provide really good depth for them, and then he should be able to step in. And I also was hearing some things that he could play guard. So he has versatility. You can play him anywhere. You can let him develop, sit. Great pick for the Bengals. And I don't really know where else they go unless they wanted to go interior defensive lineman. They have Sheldon Rankins. They could possibly go edge, go grab like Latu, but overall, good pick. The Bengals really don't need a ton. So this would be kind of like a value pick for them, maybe best player available. J.C. Latham might be that guy. So at number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking Laiatu Latu. Now, pairing him with Kobe Turner would be nice. I don't know what the Rams would value more, because you have your choice of Byron Murphy here, and you have your choice of Jerzon Newton. So do you want to go top IDL, or do you want to go edge 3? Now, it depends on how you value these edges. Latu may be edge 1s for some teams. So I guess my thing is, you're going to have to rebuild that D-line, because Aaron Donald commanded so much attention that you need to add more playmakers. No matter who you put on that line, you are not replacing Aaron Donald, so you need to beef it up while you can. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the board taking Tyler Guyton. I don't really like this pick because they kind of need a tackle now, and Guyton needs some development. So he goes, the Steelers have undergone a complete makeover at quarterback, but they still need to upgrade at tackle to play opposite of last year's Broderick Jones. So yes, I think Guyton and Mims are both projects, but I feel a lot more safe with Mims than I do Guyton. So you could also go Jackson Powers Johnson here and get the center you need. I don't like this pick. Positionally, okay, I get it. But I don't know if the Pittsburgh Steelers want to take a developmental tackle at 20. At number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Graham Barton. I think this pick makes a lot of sense for them, because if you think about it, they struggled with the interior O-line, and Grant Barton played tackle in college, but he can play any spot in the interior. They signed Aaron Brewer. They lost Robert Hunt, so he could play any of those guard spots. He could play tackle in a pinch. He could play center if you really need him to. So Grant Barton would be a great pickup for the Dolphins to really solidify the interior of their O-line. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Nate Wiggins. So he goes, Wiggins is the most natural cover man in this year's draft. I like Nate Wiggins, but I don't know. I just, his size really does scare me after we saw with Emmanuel Forbes, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it just is frightening. I think the Philadelphia Eagles could definitely go corner here, but in this board, Cooper DeJean would probably be a much better pick because he can also play safety if you need. At number 23, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Like I said, they're going to take a wide receiver here, Brian Thomas Jr., and you're going to give Kyler Murray a weapon to throw to. Extremely fast, big body guy who can catch the ball. Duh, he's a fucking receiver. He can catch the ball. But, I mean, he can go up and get the ball. I like Brian Thomas Jr., and a lot of people have him as wide receiver 4. A guy I am coming around to a lot that won't be drafted high because of the off-the-field issues, but Jermaine Burton from Alabama, kind of filthy. He's kind of filthy. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. You gotta, Tyler Smith may kick out, and then you have Jackson Powers-Johnson who can replace Biadasz. You got a lot of issues on that line, and you got to fix it. But getting probably the best interior O lineman in the draft in Powers-Johnson for the Cowboys at 24 is a great pick, and he can play the guard spots too. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Amarius Mims. I like this pick a lot because, in my opinion, the Runyon got signed, and Josh Nyman, I believe, just got signed. So Rasheed Walker, I believe is his name, is playing left tackle. And he definitely played really well, but I believe he was a 7th-round pick. And my thing is, I know the Packers are known for developing their trenches, but you also have to play out the scenario of what if the guys that you have right now are just not the guys you need? And maybe it is okay to take a lineman an offensive lineman in the first round. And I think that's what you get with Mims, who is extremely talented and can play both tackle spots. So now we have at 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Darius Robinson. Yeah, Darius Robinson is a good player. I don't know if I love him in the first as much anymore. He made a lot of waves about the Senior Bowl, but he is someone who can play on the interior of the line. He can play on the edge. So if that's someone that the Bucs want after losing Shaq Barrett, I think he would be a nice... so he says he would be a great compliment to one of the best sleeper picks in last year's draft, Yaya Diaby. I like Yaya Diaby. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, yeah, so they have 3 first-round picks, taking Byron Murphy. So if you leave this draft with Byron Murphy, Brian Thomas Jr., and who did they take? They took Jaron Verse. Oh, my Lord. You are starting to cook. And I bet you they got a first-round pick next year if the trade actually went down. This will speed up your rebuild so quickly, and you got to think about it. You already have Kyler Murray on an expensive contract. If you want to win with Kyler and build a really good team around him, you are going to have to build through the first round and build through your drafts. Free agency, yes, you can add players. You add Sean Murphy-Bunting, but it's not the same. I honestly think the more and more I have thought about it, the Cardinals trading back and acquiring 2 additional first-round picks this year, so then they have 3 this year and 2 next year, and probably a 3rd next year. Dude, you can't pass that up. You can make the argument that Marvin Harrison Jr. is this amazing receiver. I'm not saying he's not. But for the value that you're going to get, you can't tell me that you'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. than Byron Murphy, Jared Verse, and Brian Thomas Jr. Like, one side heavily outweighs the other. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Jer'Zhan Newton. Yeah, I mean, they're going to need help on the defensive line. I know Von Miller's getting older. They could probably use an edge. Put Newton next to Oliver. Be a very good defensive line. I could also see them going wide receiver here. Either way, good pick for the Buffalo Bills. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Coy McKinstry. So, yeah, I think the Lions, they added Carlton Davis. And they just need more help in the secondary room. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. You could obviously add an edge here, but I don't know for value-wise in the end of the first round if there's really any edges besides maybe like a Chop Robinson that you'd want to add. And I think Coy McKinstry is a pretty good player. So he goes, the Lions end up going with the talented outside corner to pair with his former Alabama teammate, Brian Branch. So, the Lions are stocking up in their secondary. At number 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Cooper Jean. Honestly, this would be electric. Replacing Geno Stone, putting him next to Kyle Hamilton. You could also have DeJean play corner. I do like this pick. I have never seen DeJean mock to the Ravens, and I like it a lot. That would be great. Although, the Ravens currently have 2 starting linemen on the offensive side. So, I would bet they maybe lean offensive linemen, but I do really like this pick. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Chop Robinson, and the rich get richer. Chop Robinson on the 49ers outside of Nick Bosa would probably make opposing teams want to rip their eyeballs out. That would just be so scary to go up against, and if the 49ers did that, which it is such a 49ers pick, I would throw up. I think they probably go like a Jordan Morgan or a right tackle here, but overall, good pick. At number 32, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Adonai Mitchell. Honestly, Adonai Mitchell, Hollywood Brown, and Rashee Rice with Travis Kelce is a whole new makeover for the wide receiver room in Kansas City, and I think it would be a great pick for them in order to three-peat next year. So this has been Daniel Jeremiah's Mock Draft 3.0. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your least favorite pick and your favorite pick from this mock draft, and I will be back later today with a mock draft madness day 18, and then tomorrow I'll have another mock draft reaction. So thank you guys so much. We've grown, honestly guys, we have been growing the channel like crazy. More subscribers. We'll have more subscribers this month than I think we ever had. I think our highest was 199. We're already at 135, and we still got another 10, 13 days to go. So if we can get over 200 guys, that would be amazing. Thank you guys so much.